So a couple months ago, I made a video defending the Sony FX2 in the midst of its terrible rollout and even worse reception. And in that video, I said this. Now, am I gonna buy an FX2? Probably not. Now, as you come closer to the camera's availability date, I'm not so sure. And for me personally, it brings up two questions. One, how many cameras do you need? Because for me to afford the FX2, I'd have to trade in my A7 IV as well as my FX30. I could probably get a little something on top of that, maybe a lens or something after the fact. But the point is I'd be down to one main body. The other question is, if I'm going to make that leap, is the FX2 the one to make the leap for? Now, a couple quick caveats. I'm not talking to professional photographers, videographers as I have this conversation. In that case, you absolutely do need at least two bodies, hopefully the same body, dual cord slots, the whole bit. I'm not talking to professionals. I'm also not talking to folks with a lot of money. If you have a bunch of money and you have the budget to just get what you want, you don't have to think about this stuff. Just get the FX2 or whatever you have in mind. For the folks like me who aren't necessarily making money off their camera, at least not consistently, how many cameras do I need to do what I do? As a solo creator, I don't do multicam setups for the most part. And if I have a more involved project, I have somebody like Chris Francois, who did the Dehancer review with me, to collaborate with, and we can kind of combine our gear and our know-how to hopefully make something decent. Now, there's another consideration that I have. If you are my age, you remember the days of the combo DVD player TV, or if you really go way back like I do, the combination VCR TV. And they always sounded like great ideas. There's some space saving involved. You save a few dollars. The problem was that the VCR or the DVD broke, you kind of lost half of the point of having the thing. Lord forbid the TV breaks, now you have a DVD player that you can't watch anything on at all. That's sort of my concern with having the FX2 as my only camera. Let's say something happens with the shutter in the next year or so. Granted, it might be covered and everything else, but if the shutter goes, most likely I'm not taking video either, unless the entire shutter just happens to collapse or get stuck in a way that the sensor's still available. Point being, if I lose one functionality, I lose essentially both functionalities in all likelihood. Even if it's a video situation, that means it's more of a software, hardware situation, something wrong with the sensor, whatever else, creates a problem. So there is some safety in having two bodies, even if they don't do the same thing. So we all know the FX2 has some quirks, but they either work in my advantage or don't affect me at all. For example, the protruding EVF. A lot of folks hate it. I am left eye dominant. I've had multiple eye surgeries, and it's actually kind of a miracle that I do photo and video at all. But that aside, as being left eye dominant, my nose is usually hitting the back screen when I'm taking photos, and I'm feeling crowded in my shooting hand. It's not the most comfortable of experiences, and Lord forbid it's a rangefinder, it's kind of worse. But with the FX2, I don't have to worry about that. I'll have enough space to actually feel comfortable shooting for a change, and that's kind of a welcome feature for me. Now, the sensor, folks are in their feelings because the sensor is the same one as the A7 IV. I've had my A7 IV for about 4 or 5 years now, and I really like the images that come out of it on the photo side and the video side. Which begs the question, if you're that happy with the A7 IV sensor, why don't you just keep the A7 IV? That's a great question. And the answer to that is pretty simple: overheating. And as much as I hate the overheating conversation that seems to surround every single camera that's released, if you have a hybrid camera, it's likely going to overheat while you do video. It just is what it is. But, you know, I've been overheating to the point where my A7 IV has been pretty unreliable, and having something like the FX2, which is going to not have those issues, works for me. Now, understand with the A7 IV sensor, I don't get as good a low light performance as, say, the FX3, and rolling shutter is an issue. The issue is with that, I don't really shoot that late at night. I don't do like really dark shots and stuff like that. And if I'm shooting video, it's usually me, so the camera's on sticks anyway. So slow rate out speeds are fine. I'm not doing whip pans or anything crazy. So I don't really have a problem with the sensor at all either. Overall, the FX2 would be a really, really good camera for somebody like me. But does it work as the only camera for somebody like me? That becomes a question. Now, to be perfectly honest, if I had the FX3 instead of the FX30, this probably isn't a conversation. But as much as I thought I can deal with the crop sensor, I want my full sensor back. I don't want to do the math on various lenses. I don't necessarily want to buy crop lenses just for the FX30. I have a lot of vintage glass I like to use as well, and I like to get the most out of those. The FX30 is great if you live in a crop sensor world. Having one toe in and one toe out between full frame and crop just doesn't really hit the same way. So, I mean, like I said, the FX30 has been spectacular. It's just a crop sensor at this point. It doesn't work for me. And again, it's not about low light. It's not about any of those things. I just want to be able to use my glass the way it was intended to be used. Now, I don't think I'm going to run out and get the FX2 first day. I'll probably sit back a little bit and see what the response is with folks as they have it in hand. But I'm also keeping in mind that the A7 IV is lurking somewhere out there, and I don't know what that does to the value of my A7 IV once that comes out. Will there be a rush to the A7 IV used market because folks can't afford the A7 V? I don't know. The value of the A7 IV could plummet just the same. So the idea of getting the most value now for the A7 IV, as opposed to waiting a little too long, is also really tempting. Because like I said, once I turn in the two cameras, I could probably get another bit of glass, either a new 24-70 because I have the Sigma 24-70 Art and I beat the hell out of it, but it still functions just fine. It's just got some quirks and some issues. Or I can get, maybe a 16-50 to really round out the zooms, or my first Cine Prime, I don't know. But I could walk away potentially with an FX2 and some new glass and have protected the value of the FX30 as well as the A7 IV when I trade it in. So what would you do with my shoes? Are you trading everything in and going for the FX2, knowing that folks feel a way about it, even though I've been seeing more videos being more complimentary to it, and as folks settle in and think about what it is? Or do you just keep the two cameras and, I don't know, maybe save some money somewhere, though I don't know how I'm saving money at this moment. Daughter's going to college in the fall and blah, 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 blah. So yeah, it's pretty much turn in both cameras for the FX2 or sit where I'm at. What would you do with my shoes? Leave a note in the comments. This video is great at using Dehancer, by the way. I'm a big fan of Dehancer. Their formulation and color grading has helped me out a lot. Use code SPN to get 10% off your first purchase. I also get a little kickback on it as well, so we're all happy. But yeah, let me know what you think about FX2 versus staying put, and I will talk to y'all soon. Peace.